Um, okay, should we move to like our first presenters for tonight? Yeah? Are you guys ready?
Yes.
We have Mats and Emil. Hi guys.
Hello.
How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having us.
Let me just introduce them, or do you want to just introduce who are they and why are they here?
Well, you're very welcome to introduce us if you want to. That would be cool.
So, there are two judges from the rookies in the group tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have to.
They didn't know.
You have to guess who they are, but surely,
Emil,
you should know anyway. Surely.
Yeah.
I know Michael is a judge.
So, just to recap, anyone who didn't know what the rookies was about, it is I suppose that you'd call it's the #1 CGI student body and the rookie awards. We had Owen, who's one of the co-founders of it earlier on this year, who joined us just before the competition started. A few years ago, they started to really push into trying to get ArcViz students involved. Now, Mads here, who's joined us tonight, seems to have the golden formula for the winning formula, because is it 2 years or 3 years in a row you've won?
2 years, 1
2 years.
One other.
So, and then Emil you won this year, but you both go to the same school or university.
Yeah.
So I think we and the community would like to know, what is the secret formula that you've got going on? Because how many entries were there this year? There were 300 or 400, and the caliber of work was phenomenal. So that lines it up for you. You came first and second. Let's hear your story.
Thanks, and thanks for the introduction, Nigel. Thanks for having us. It's we've been really excited to join here tonight. As you said, Mads and I both went to the same school, 3D College, yeah, I think we kind of planned an introduction, but I think we'll just skip that because you did it quite well. But we should have the PowerPoint up and running, the slideshow. We have some work we want to show you, so we'll talk a bit more about the 3D College and Mads and I's friendship, because we'll come back to that later. But now we want to show a bit of our work from the rookies contest, and we picked like an art piece each. We're gonna talk a bit about the progress real quick. We won't go like super in depth, but we'll go
kind of just like quick overview of what we did.
So I hope it's no secret that we've been a little nervous for presenting this to you guys, because obviously here today we have gathered some of the best professional artists in the industry, so it is we're a bit nervous to introduce this, but hopefully we won't be able to tell too much. So let's move into it.
Yes, do you want to start?
Yes. So I've chosen to talk about this art piece I did, and it's like in a high rise. So the first thing I wanted to do talk about with this project is I aim to do it in a full 3D scene. So as you can see by the clay render here, most of the whole image is done in 3D. And one of the big challenges for me I have like a relatively weak computer, so I really had to memory optimize the scene in order to make this stuff render. So I had to look into stuff like how you can optimize V-Ray with proxies and like multi-tile mip-mapped textures and stuff like that. So that was sort of the challenge I set for myself and the goal for this project, what I wanted to learn. So I also wanted to design the building myself, and I'm by no means any architecture, and I don't know the design of this stuff, but I found some really nice inspiration pictures. I kind of like these building with rounded corners and these green terraces. So I tried to include that in my render. This is the raw render I did, and so the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to give the image some life. So I composited in like an airplane and a helicopter, some birds, because I really wanted some movement and some life in the image, so maybe I can catch the viewer's attention for a little more than just a second, just make them look at all the things that are moving in the scene. I think it gives so much more life to the image. It also took some time to add the depth. So if you look like on the left side of the picture, you can see like there's these light rays coming in and sort of this, I used the C depth pass to sort of give the image some depth. And here is the final one. And I took the reflection pass and you know, made the windows more reflective because I think that's more realistic on how these windows are in real life. I should probably have done this by the material, but this was kind of like a hacky way to achieve the same thing, just using the reflection pass or the specular pass. And I went for the color grading. I went to try and make it a bit dynamic. So from the left side, I wanted to have this warm light coming in. So I hope you can see, like, if you divide the image down the middle, the left side is kind of warm and the right side is kind of cold, more bluish and desaturated a bit in the colors. And of course, I added some finishing touches like some bloom and glare and a really strong lens flare on the side of the building. And overall, I hope to achieve an image, you know, that has a lot of life in it and is really dynamic and interesting to look at. I think I managed to achieve that, but of course, that's my opinion. I have to say so myself, right? So I'll give it back over to Mads, and he'll talk a bit about his image.
Yeah. So this is an interior image I did at school while I go to 3D college and like switch between school and apprenticeship. So we like get 5 weeks to work on our own projects, and this was one of the images I created. I probably spent around 1 week on it, I think. So this is the title of the work. Oliver Kroner's like 13. I was like just named a random street name just to like, so I don't have to think about it so much. So I just like go on Google Maps and like found a random street and put it as the title. That's just like easy way to come up with a title, I think. So for the inspiration, I've went on like a real estate site on a Danish site. So I found like a really nice apartment with a high ceiling. It's like, I really like apartments with a high ceiling. So I got really inspired by that. So, and like big windows and like, I think the wooden beams were also a really nice touch on the apartment. So for the lighting, I went like always like going about like very Scandinavian look for my projects, like very bright and like black and white, natural colors and that kind of style. So
you seem to like the cloudy HDRIs, right? The ones that give a soft kind of light. Yeah.
Like a couple of years ago, I watched Johannes Lindqvist guide. Like he has one called Scandinavian Complete Guide, and he like talked a lot about the like overcast HDRIs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done that a lot, but actually this one is a corner sky and sun. But yeah, I also use some LUTs on it, like the Ed & Martin soft lights. I use them pretty often. They're pretty good for the like Scandinavian look, and like Johannes also got some pretty good looks for like achieving the Scandinavian look. But yeah, that's the clay render, so you can just see the lighting on the scene. And yeah,
it's really low contrasty lighting, right?
Yeah,
to get that overcast look.
Yeah, I also think the big windows gave the like sunlight really nice feeling. I think you can really see it come into the room. And so I guess my kind of style is really Scandinavian. I guess I'm kind of known for like the Scandinavian style.
That's
like,
that's your trademark, isn't it?
I guess so.
Really.
I mean,
it's nice.
Also for this one, I actually kind of tried to like go another style. Like normally my images are very like black and white and green, like just planes and stuff. But this one, I like try to like give it a bit more natural colors, like the wooden beams, the wooden chairs, like the marble table, the marble island, and the wooden kitchen and the back. So I really try to like give it a lot of natural materials and stuff. And then for my kind of style, I really like minimal furniture, like the chairs just like really flat in a way. Like the table is pretty simple too, just like a cylinder and a box on the top. So I always try to keep it pretty minimal and not like super crazy detailed. But yeah, for the composition post, this is the raw image. So I actually did a lot of posts on this image, and for my kind of style, I tried to like make it kind of look like a furniture magazine kind of way. So like use some sharpening for it too, like give it a bit of contrast. So I'm not like going for like fully photorealistic, kind of more like it's made for a magazine or like Pinterest or something like that.
Yeah, because what tends to happen, right, when you do these Scandinavian look and this soft lighting, it gets kind of flat. So you often have to introduce a lot of contrast and interesting stuff in the post production, at least in my experience. And yeah, continue, Matt. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, some people dislike this kind of style, like that's a bit sharpened and like. But personally, I really like it. But yeah. So this was a close-up I made for the scene too, like just to like add some more images to the project. Sometimes I even make like up to 7 close-ups of my projects just to like add some more to it in a way. But yeah, so also something I do like to give the image a bit more depth is like with the plant you notice in the like the front here, like just to give the image some depth. Like I also done it here with like the leaves up here. I just think it gives the image a nice touch in a way.
But so Mads, I've got a question. Did you, with the close-up and the details, did you model the watch and those assets, or did you acquire them from?
Yeah, I just downloaded the models. I think the watch is from Dimensiva, and yeah, most of the models are downloaded.
You usually spend time like tweaking the shaders and stuff. I noticed you do that a lot, right?
Yeah. On like all the models downloaded, pretty much tweak all the shaders on them, and like try to optimize the textures and stuff like that, and change the color and such. But yeah.
All right.
Are we allowed to butt in like this with questions?
What's up? What was that?
I was saying, are we allowed to butt in and interrupt like this? I'm really interested about the idea that you create these little vignettes like that. Is that kind of what you would normally do on a normal job as well? Kind of added little freebies to the client, or?
Probably not to my clients, but this is just a personal project I made for my portfolio. But I mean, I can quickly show my portfolio, what I usually do.
Well, actually, I'm going to jump in here and talk about it from the judging point of view, because I had a debrief afterwards, and the reason that you scored so highly, and that this really is, if there's anyone watching who also had entered the competition, because as you guys will know, there were a lot of great images in there, but what the judges felt that you showed, so because you dived into so much detail and you did the maquettes and you told the backstory and you really showed why and how you came to that final image by telling that story, showing the chalk renders, and actually just giving the mood boards and everything, and that really responds well with judges.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael. That's great.
You did the same thing last year as well. You spent the time actually just developing the mood and the style, all the assets as you've talked about, and it's really important when you're creating an image.
Yeah, I think it's pretty important, like spending a lot of time on your entry, like, and like going in detail, like explaining why you made it and how you made it, and like showing clay renders and such if you want to make a successful entry. Yeah.
Emil, you said you enjoy the process more than the result, didn't you? So maybe that is, maybe that is part of the, what helps to make a winning entry.
Yes, it's actually funny that you mentioned it, because Mads and I are actually two very different artists. I think we have different skills. I think Mads has this really strong style in his images, and you can always recognize when you see a Mads render, you're never in doubt. This is a Mads render. He's developed a really cool style, and he knows a lot about the style stuff. While I'm more the thing that motivates me to do a 3D, I really like to explore different workflows and different techniques, new things. So it's funny, Mads and I, when we help each other, the kind of questions I come to Mads with is often like, how does this look, Mads? What do you think about my style and my composition of colors? And that's what he can sort of help me with. And Mads comes to me with like, how do I model this? How do I tweak this material? How do I, what does this render error mean? And this kind of stuff. So we're two, I think our skills complement each other quite well. And
sounds like you can make a good team together.
yeah, we will. And actually we will in the near future. And in 2 weeks, I'm joining for some internship at the same company Mads is working. So we'll be on the same team very shortly. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's CAD design.
That's only going to be terrible news for the rest of us, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's just we'll see.
Emil, why did you decide to show the tower tonight rather than some of your other projects? For example, the cabin in the woods, I thought was a really nice project.
You've interrupted their presentation.
I think this is because this one I did the most.
It's your fault.
Like I made some really a lot of the decisions I did with this one was very purposely. Like I was purposely thinking a lot about the things I was doing here. So for me, it's easy to sort of explain the progress, and it is my personal favorite. Actually, I've heard from many that this is not the. I think many people prefer the wood cabin, but this one is I hold this one very dear, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a really good answer. I think if you have a bit more intimate feeling with this project, then why not talk about it more? I think that's an excellent answer. I'm sorry, Mads, please continue if you've still got if you're still on track.
We have a bit about 3D College, the school we went to. So this is like a small vocational education. So it's actually not like a university or anything. And part of the program is we have to go to internship at these companies and go back and forth between school and internship, which Mads is currently doing, and I'm looking for internship. So hopefully we'll get on the same team soon. But about the school, it's a really free school in the sense that there's a lot of like the school days are very short, which means you have a lot of time to work on your personal projects, and they're not like forcing you in any direction with your education. You really have to take some sort of responsibility and take charge of your own learning. And so it's really important to spend a lot of your spare time at the school working. And Mads and I was actually roommates at 3D College. We were living together in this small room. What was it, like 10 square meters, 10, 12 square meters. We lived two guys a really tight space, and the only thing me and Mads really have in common, we don't have much in common, to be honest, but one thing we do have in common is we are very passionate about 3D graphics. So, and I think this is part of the reason we have had this much success is we have really pushed each other. I think there's like this internal competition between Mads and I. It's not something we spoke of, but I definitely wanted to be better than Mads, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to be better than me too. So we were kind of like battling, but it was in a really friendly and constructive way, I'd say. And we always helped each other and cheered each other forward. So it was really nice. And like our typical days, we were in school and coming around in the afternoon, just working all afternoon. Probably we always did like late night walks and talked about our 3D projects before going to bed. And I remember our room was always so hot because Mads was rendering every night, or crypto mining, something like that. He was either crypto mining or rendering. So like the room was always super hot. You could never sleep because of the
or Minecraft, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a good question. So you haven't moved into the real-time world yet of rendering, of using Unreal or Unity?
We actually did a project together in Unreal, but I mean, we haven't really worked that much in Unreal, both of us, I think.
No, I think you're like a Corona guy, right? And I'm more like a V-Ray guy.
I kind of switch between render engines like every year or so.
But yeah, it's mostly offline rendering. I'm looking very much forward to playing around with Project Lavina, though, and I think it's learning something like Unreal Engine it's a bit much, I think, when you're a student. I hear a lot of the guys starting at 3D College and they're very worried. Should I learn V-Ray or should I learn Unreal Engine? Which engine should I learn first? And learning both at the same time can be quite overwhelming, I think, for a student or an artist. So I think on 3D College we focus more on learning, teaching V-Ray, and sort of lay the foundation for 3ds Max V-Ray. And the teachers are really good at guiding you in the right direction, I'd say, at the school. So
yeah, but I think for sure when the V-Ray or Unreal Engine 5 comes out, I think for sure I'm gonna look more into it.
It's definitely on the rise, right? Like Unreal Engine is a new thing, and we're always watching out and and looking for whichever the industry, what direction that goes, we will follow.
It's interesting because there were a lot of other entries in the finalists that did have Unreal Engine parts to their submissions, whereas you guys didn't have any of that side of things. I mean, yeah, Nigel spotted, hit on something there.
Yeah, I think it's also due to like most companies in Denmark. I actually don't know a single company in Denmark who's moved into real time yet. I think most of them are still using Corona and V-Ray, and so the school is kind of aiming us to get these internships, so they really want to move us in that direction, whichever the Danish industry is taking. But I think we will see more of Unreal Engine in the near future, right? So
yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah. So
I feel I should be saying something, but you guys are just doing just fine.
Go on, Fabrice, have a little plug.
No. Well, all I can say is look at the latest anti-aliasing in the kind of movie render, and in terms of, and this is like, just came out in the 425, and you can really now compete with the very, very high res renders. And so anyway, carry on.
Well, one thing I would like to say about the school is it's really nice, and it comes with full hospitality. We get a place to live and food. We get computers and licenses. We even get a nice school trip to America. So some of these pictures you're seeing right now on the left top corner, that is Mads and me, obviously, in the top right corner. This is in front of Mount Rainier in Washington, America. So this we spent 4 weeks in America. It's one of the best trips I've had in my life. And all of this is in the Danish education system is practical free for us. So it's been a really nice experience with the school.
Sure.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have been that.
Emil, I have another question, Emil.
Yeah, sure.
You can ask your question next, yeah. Emil, I have another question. Why did you elect to do that tower scene in complete 3D rather than use a photo montage?
Oh, yeah, well, I have to admit, I'm not that good in 2D, and I think I wrote this in my entry as well. I tried to show a wide range of skills in my entry. I did a lot of modeling and shading and 3D stuff. But one of the things I'm really not that good at is photo bashing and Photoshop. And it's really something I'm looking into learning at the moment. Actually, I want to improve on that thing, but I'm really not good at it. But one of the things I'd say about doing it in 3D is that it's so easy to see the composition right away. So what I did before I put in the high quality buildings, I was just sort of using a block out, like just placing block boxes, and you can quickly find some sort of composition. Because I didn't use like a reference image or anything. I just, kind of laid these boxes out and tried to fill the street up with the kind of buildings. And then I found some high quality buildings afterwards and replaced those. So I think it's using 3D boxes for the early stage can be quite beneficial, I think.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But I guess it's good to challenge yourself as well. If you want to do, you should. If you're not good at photography, maybe you should do a little bit more.
Yeah, I should. Yeah.
Mads, you're a bit of a photographer as well, no?
Yeah, I did some couple of years ago, but not
Right.
at the moment, but I did some.
Okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about the photogrammetry work that you did on the sneaker project, and maybe some other things that you've done with photogrammetry as well?
Again, I think we've interrupted their presentation.
It's totally fine, guys.
I've done it again, have I?
I think we've already done with the presentation,
Okay.
aren't we?
Yeah,
So
almost.
we questions
But
are nice.
this is some sneakers I did a photo scan of. I think I spent 8 hours total, like retopologizing them, like making the mesh properly. So I did ultra high version and 1 million polygons, I think, and
We're
130.
supposed to see your screen there?
Can you see it?
No, we're
got
still on the US trip.
2 seconds then.
You-
Do you have to unshare this one first?
I think you unshare the screen and then there we
Working
go.
on?
Yeah, we can see that now.
Yeah, great. So this is some sneakers I made with Photogrammetry. So I just took a bunch of pictures of some sneakers in the real world. I think I took around a bit over 100 pictures, like 130 or so. So, and I just used like a normal, the mirrorless camera. So it's a bit higher. It's like 5K the pictures, I think. So it's pretty high res to like get this kind of detail.
What like the setup? Did you have like a backdrop?
Yeah,
behind the,
I just had a
yeah.
back black blanket.
Mhm.
So I think it's a method called the void, like where I just have like a total black background and like just like try to make the object kind of float in a way. So it's like everything is total black except for the object. So I think it's a method a lot of people are starting to use in the photogrammetry, at least from the people I see. But
Really
yeah,
nice work.
thank you.
Patting each other on the back here, aren't we?
Mads, you also talk about an upcoming film project as well. Are you going to elaborate a little bit more on that?
I haven't really worked that much on it since like I worked on it the last time, but I think I'm probably gonna finish it. But I mean, it's gonna be like a flying through animation that tries to like aim to it to be like a bit over 1 minute. But I haven't really done like big animation projects like that before, so it's a bit new for me. But hopefully it's gonna be finished. I hope. But
Do you think you'll be able to get it into the CG Architect Awards this year?
maybe actually. Not really sure if I can make it in time, but it will be cool to make entry for it.
Cool.
We should have
love
the
the shoe.
CG Architect Awards in the news as well, Nigel. Actually, come to
Right,
think.
that was the other thing that we needed to touch on.
Yeah.
But I think we can just
We've done it now.
how are we doing for time?
What? I
Yeah,
didn't think of
Does
that.
anyone else have any questions for the guys? Do we have anyone left?
We're all here.
I think you guys have a lot of fans on watching on YouTube. Actually,
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends in
New
here.
names that I've not
I
seen.
want to give a shout out and say hi to the guys out there. Thanks for joining us.
I think it's because I have a Discord server and a lot of the people on there sitting in the voice chat watching the live.
Right. Well, listen, a like for us is a like for Emil and Mads.
Well, if there are no more questions, I think we would just like to say cheers, guys, and or skål, as we say in Denmark. So
Cool.
Cool, yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. No,
Good.
thank you. Great work.
Congratulations to you both. You know, the work is obviously
thanks for having us.
and yeah, I think job well done. Congratulations.
I have one more question. What advice would you give for next year's rookies? If someone's to enter, what would you advise them? Are there any tips that you have?
Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, you can go.
One of the things I've like noticed a lot of people do, they don't really spend like that much time on the entries. Like I think it's important like detailing your entry a bit more, like showing the breakdown, like showing clay renders, viewports, like going into a bit more detail about like the image and like explaining a bit more about it and like stuff like that. And, like
I think one of the things that have helped you and me as well has been like we talked about before, these guys that have showed up in the chat. We have a really nice community around us that are serving as really good support and feedback, and it has kept me really motivated for keep going. And I think that is a really, really important tip, to find a good community you can be a part of, and that will help you keep the motivation up for working for it.
Yeah, but I mean that's also kind of the school. But if you go to a school, that's also really helps with like keeping the motivation up.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of.
I
There's a
think
lot
you
of
also find that the ArcViz community is really supportive as well. And I'm sure Jason, if he's still with us, will step in and tell you how central to the European community, or worldwide community, I guess, D2 has become. And so we look forward to seeing you there in the future.
Yeah, Les and I was talking this year about going there physically, but
You'll
we
be
will
the
have
only
to join
one.
virtually this year, which
You'll be
of course
wandering
we will
around
do.
Vienna by yourself.
Yeah.
But I do encourage you both to enter the CG Architect Awards this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And all your friends as well.
We'll pass it on.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, guys. That was awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I mean, I am a massive shoe fan, so I was so impressed by this, and I was like, oh my god, look at the details. So yeah, really, really cool. I mean, I liked all your projects, don't get me wrong. I just can't really hang on the shoes. Thank you very much for joining us.
well, yeah. If anyone else wants to have a look at their work, you can go to the rookies and.
I really advise everyone to do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, both Emil and Mads both have 5 or 6 really good projects on there. One last question before we move on to the next presenter. What's with the toadstools? There's toadstools everywhere in this.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of toadstools.
Toadstools? What is that? It's the stool.
Mushrooms.
It's like a mushroom, yeah.
Mushroom.
In your images.
You've both
Look at
got
our rookie
in your portfolio there, no?
Actually, could you share those? Yeah, share.
Yeah, I was wondering too. It was like, why?
You know, the Vikings here, they used to eat those. So before battle. I don't know if it has anything.
How they went on their trips.
Do you want to share with our viewers? Just flick through some of your other images here, just briefly.
Sure. So this is another image I did at school, like environment. Did a lot of force pack on this one. So
yeah. And of course you can find us on ArtStation if you want to
show some of yours.
Yeah, you want to go as well. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I think this is this one.
Yeah, this is the wood cabin one. I think Joshua was talking about earlier, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Nice. Yeah, really nice work there.
Thank you, man.
Another mushroom.
I gotta say, my mushroom render was. I did this one after Mess, so I kind of stole the idea, I guess, a bit inspired. But I hope he's okay with it.
I think there were other mushrooms as well. It wasn't just you two, was it? In the
There are others. It's
yeah, like these are having these mega scan assets is so easy to make these fun small macro images, I guess it is. Add some subsurface scattering to it, and it becomes really sexy. I think these mushrooms. But, yeah.
no, great work. Really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us. It was great. For having you tonight.
Thanks for letting us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.